Hello, welcome to my apartment. Come on in. Hi guys, welcome to my apartment tour. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nora. Welcome to my YouTube. So happy that you're here. I will be showing you the apartment that I moved into this year. I moved in January 2021 and I have been decorating it ever since. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with the kitchen because it's literally the first thing you walk into when you walk into the apartment. And I just feel like it's the center of the entire space. One of the last things that I bought for the apartment was this island. I was searching everywhere for an island. I felt like I needed it to separate the kitchen from the living space. So like this feels like an actual kitchen, the living room feels like the living room, and the dining space feels like the dining space. And I feel like this island was that middle space. So I opted to try to decorate with as much secondhand pieces as I could. So majority of the pieces, like this island, I got from either Marketplace, a thrift store, or Craigslist. This one in particular was from Marketplace. And I really like how it transformed the kitchen space and gave me more counter. I don't know, I don't cook that much, but it gave me more counter space. So one of the only things I didn't like about the apartment was the original blue backsplash. So what we did was we opted for this vinyl wrapping that I got off of Amazon for $40 and just covered over the original backsplash. There's like standard appliances on it. So we have a microwave, we have an oven, a stove, we have our fridge. Important corners. This is a very important piece right here. This is the Nespresso machine. I've had this since 2016. I have been a huge Nespresso addict ever since. This is usually the little Instagram corner. I have a little setup over here where you usually see me get my coffee in the morning. We have our pods, which are very empty right now. We need to re-up. But that is a little coffee space. So the fridge is a little empty. We've got a few leftovers, but we have kombucha and the essentials for making coffee, and that is about it. Welcome to the living room. This is my favorite part of the entire apartment. It was actually one of the first spots that I decorated as well. So first thing I got in the whole apartment was this coffee table. It's a stone coffee table that I found on Marketplace for free. And I don't know why, but at the time I really just wanted to have it, but I loved it even more once I met the woman who sold it to me. So I ended up dragging my dad and my brother 45 minutes out of JFK to pick up this table from this woman named Joyce who was moving. And she was telling me how she bought it in the 80s and like the life it lived through in the 90s and early 2000s. And it just made me love the coffee table so much more. And I'm so happy that I got this one. When it comes to decorating the apartment or this coffee table in particular, I really like it when pieces connect to you in a way. So for me, I really wanted it to have this architecture book from one of the first offices I ever worked for. It has a book by Matisse, one of my favorite artists, a Super Bowl book, so that there's something that represents my husband in a way. This candle that I got from one of my best friends for my birthday, and these concrete pieces over here that were made and designed by one of my former architecture students. And I think her designs are just amazing. And I really wanted to have it on my coffee table. And I really like going with like the whole 60-30-10 rule. So I end up getting the majority of the pieces, the ones that take up 60% of the apartment. So the couch was one of them. And I got it from another very sweet person on Marketplace. Her name was Cynthia, and she was in love with her couch, did not want to sell it, but was moving. So we ended up becoming Instagram friends, so she can see the apartment and her couch whenever she wants. We bought this couch and picked it up the same day that we were moving. So my brother and my husband were both carrying this couch 3 flights downstairs in New York City and then bringing it all the way to the apartment. And here it is. So I have a love for art, if you haven't noticed. If you ask my brother, he will tell you that I design apartments to look like museums, and that is specifically because of this corner. So I really wanted these plaster pedestals that I also found on Marketplace to display just pieces that create a little museum sort of vignettes in this corner. So this vase I got from Crate and Barrel, and this dude I also got from Marketplace. Have no idea who he is, but He looks cute in this corner. Ongoing with the whole art theme, I went for this TV. So originally I wanted an art piece on this wall. My husband of course wanted a TV like most normal people. So we got the Samsung TV art frame. It's supposed to replicate an art piece. For the frame around it, so Samsung has their own frames that you can buy, but I really wanted to have something that connected to something else in the apartment. So this, as you'll see later, connects to one of the mirrors that I have, and I don't know, has a more Baroque look to it. So this one I had custom made at this little store in Brooklyn, and they were really great. We have some more books over here as well, but other than that, this is the living room. Next, we'll go to the dining room. Very similar to the kitchen, very black, but I really wanted it to be simple and minimal. So we went for an all black dining area because there's literally just this corner. Very small. I ended up getting this tulip table just because there's really no space. So I wanted it to fit as many people as possible. And honestly only fits 2 people, if I'm being completely honest. It fits 4 small people. My family's just really tall and big, and I'm just the smallest person. So this is the dining area. One of my favorite things about it though is definitely the chairs. Decorating and designing this apartment was a family effort. So my wonderful sister and my cousin picked up all these chairs for me that I also found on Facebook Marketplace from this really sweet woman. $75 for 8 of them, and they ended up being vintage from the 1970s. It's like the Jetsons met mid-century modern, and there's something special about them, so I really like that they're there. This little squiggly candle I got at a thrift store, and this plant is it's actually a very special plant, not only because my sister got it for me, but because it's still alive. I have, what is it, like a black thumb? It's a black thumb, but she's still thriving. Sorry. But yeah, that is the dining space. I have these curtains all around the living room and the dining area. I ended up going with a ceiling track system to have these floor-to-ceiling curtains. It just really, I wanted something that lengthened the space or like really accented the height of the space. So these are, I think, 118-inch curtains. They really do touch the floor, but I love that they just went on the track, and it gets very bright in here, so 100% necessary. Aside from that, over here I have my very simple desk area. There's honestly not much to it, but I really wanted to keep it simple. We were working from home for most of 2020 and 2021, so that was a really simple desk. And right now it's really messy, so not important. So for the entryway, it's actually pretty simple. I wasn't really sure what to do with it. In the entryway, I have this table over here. I think it's called like a tessellated table. It was big in the 80s. I originally bought it for the living room, had no idea what to do with it, so I just put it over here. This art piece, I ended up painting this one. It was originally like a poster with a cactus on it, and I just spray painted it and just wanted it the black and white theme over again. On the table I have an architecture book, of course, little books that some of my friends got me. This is a Quran, and that's about it. Over here we have the bathroom, and this right here is the closet, and then over here we have this mirror. So I really love mirrors that have character. This one in particular was my dad's that he found in the house that he bought that was left behind by the previous owner. And I just love that this mirror just has character. It's chipped in some places and it's not completely perfect. And that to me is just really magical in a way. In front of the mirror, I ended up placing this little stool over here. So just like kind of very similar to the one I got in the living room. This stool is straw and it's wood, and it's actually my cat's favorite stool. So I basically just say it's hers. She lays on it. It's practically all hers. So with the bedroom, I really wanted it to feel light and airy and serene in here. Different from the rest of the space. I wanted it to feel calming and serene, and the way we did that was we continued with a similar color palette as the rest of the apartment, which is blacks and whites, but in a different way. So everything that was white is supposed to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more translucent, so we have the sheer curtains, the white bedding, of course, the white art, and then everything black was a little bit more bold, sort of like to anchor down the space and then just sort of juxtapose how light and airy everything is. With the white bedding, I wanted to add a little bit of pop of color, which is where the red comes in, sort of like bold red lip. It adds a little flair to the overall just a really white bedroom. And then over here in this corner, I really wanted to create an interesting vignette in the bedroom. It's a very found object corner. Like this chair, I literally found it on the streets of Manhattan. I brought it on the train to the path from New York to New Jersey, and here it is. This vase over here I found on the side of the road. I think someone had put it out. This basket I think I took from my dad's house, and then this pedestal is one of the other pieces I found on Marketplace. So with the nightstands, I already mentioned I wanted something dark and bold, and it was sort of to anchor down the sides of the bed. Also found these on Marketplace, so it's just a funny coincidence that I found them. So I wanted to mimic the rest of the apartment, to have a lot of found objects, a lot of random vases, and very earthy pieces. So with the bedroom, I wanted to do the same thing, also keep it a little bit bolder to sort of match the nightstands, but I went with a little bit more of an asymmetrical look. So I have a bigger vase on one side and then the baby version on the other. And then with this one, I put dried lavender, and that one I have a tree branch. I don't know what it is with this apartment, but I've just been adding dried leaves and branches everywhere. I mean, I have a weird style with the whole apartment. Like, I have a hanging basket in my bedroom, but I like it. It tells a story or has some sort of meaning to it. This piece over here is actually the dresser that my brother ended up making for us. He sanded it down, cut it into it, put some burlap, and just made it for me because he's such a sweet brother. So the original one is actually from IKEA. I can't remember exactly what it is because I also found them on Facebook Marketplace, and it was already stained. So what we did is we sanded it down just a little bit less, added the little doors. The only thing my brother is missing is doorknobs, but that's the dresser. Over here we have one closet, my husband's closet. This is my closet. It worked out that we had two separate closets because if we had just one, I would take over the whole thing. I already have a clothing rack outside of the bedroom. I have this thing where if I get an idea in my head, I'm gonna see it through, and if I can't afford it, I will DIY it as best as I can. So these paper mache art pieces, I originally found it online. It was, I think, about $100 for each piece. So I just bought paper mache and just did it in my living room. I feel like only I can notice the mistakes, but if I point it out, you won't stop noticing them. So like with the pieces, this one in the middle is way more rectilinear than the other ones. That one is super curvy. And then this one's sort of a mixture of both, but I tried. Because I created the challenge where I wanted to decorate with as many secondhand pieces or thrifted objects that I could find online, I didn't always get the chance to like freely pick everything that I wanted. Granted, I put the challenge on myself, but when it comes to furniture pieces and decor pieces, there's always a way to like make things work, even if it's not how you originally envisioned. I think I like how everything comes together, but it was definitely a challenge of having to find pieces and then just do the best I could with them. Alright guys, so that is the entire apartment. I have nothing else to show you. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. This was my first time making an apartment tour, so hopefully it went okay. But if you have any questions on any of the decor or any of the pieces that I showed, let me know down in the comments below. And hopefully I don't change anything else, but if I do, I'll record another video. For now, thank you so much for watching. Bye.